and welcome everybody to the Falcon and the Winter Soldier Spoilercast discussion, whatever you want to call it. As always, I'm Mitch. You can follow me on Twitter at Mitch692, and of course, I'm joined by Sean.
What's up? You can just follow me right here on this show.
So we're going to be doing this weekly, as opposed to One Division, where it was more the commentaries for members, and we did a couple of things for One Division for the main non-members, but we're gonna be doing weekly. Didn't do it for the first week, but we're doing it now, so you've got a nice chunky video to get on with it. But yeah, off the bat, I'm enjoying the show.
Yes, I'm not being biased, but I do enjoy it.
I do say I kind of missed the whole theory element that One Division had.
I think you're still gonna get that though.
Like, I think this it kind of has it. There's a couple of things, but it's not as prominent. I said it on Twitter, and people are going like, "Well, the different shows," and it's like, yeah, the different shows can have theories to them. It's not a genre. Like, what are you talking about? No.
But I think the main difference between WandaVision and this show is like that WandaVision show was designed for speculation.
Yeah,
I think. Not to say that this isn't. It's just more of like, okay, it's like you said a couple weeks ago. It's kind of like familiarity, when it comes to the show.
Like, you can obviously make some theories about it. It's like, what's Zemo going to like? Zemo's seemingly going to be an ally. Oh, I think they're going to go this route with him. Like, you got that factor in with it. It's not like you got the rabbit's Doctor Strange. Like, you haven't got this crazy. So I know people don't like those dumb theories, and I think that show kind of burnt people on the theories a little bit. I love talking, like, just thinking about all that. So it's like, I don't want to hear other people's. I just want to be able to do it. Like, I like. But I can my theories and do that. Like, I don't care about anyone else's.
Well, I can say in like when we were in production meetings, that was always the top of the conversation. It's like, what was the fans talking about, and like, not to say that we're going to do exactly the opposite of what the fans were going to do, but like they designed that show it was built on the foundation of like, hey, this is going to be fun to talk about, so like there's a lot of odd things. What could this be? What could that, it sort of had that Lost feeling where Lost had that talk all the time. But I think the predominant theme for Falcon and Winter Soldier is like, I think it brings a lot of the current environment and political environment in the show.
Yeah, it's more topical.
It's
even though you could argue One Division's got a bit of topical nature in it, but it's a vastly different, not as prolific.
It's more of a different structure in terms of of a talking points. Like, I think the main talking points of the show will always be, like, it's going to be race. It's going to be some of that. It's going to be the political view, and then there's also going to be like other stuff mixed into that. I always said when this show was coming out, this was going to be, I think, in my top 5. Or I should say top 5, but top 2 or 3 Marvel TV shows in 2020 and 21, because it's just like the chemistry that
this would be in your top 3 Marvel TV shows in 2020 and
2021. I believe.
Oh, you're counting both years. Okay, I was going to say, isn't there only like 4 this year? So top 3 is kind of. I'd hope.
Yeah, it would be up in the top of the top 4, I should say. But like I just in the first 2 episodes, it starts asking a bunch of questions about the history of that legacy that Captain America had.
I love that. Just to go straight to the Bradley bit. It's something I think everyone was hoping they were going to do.
Yeah.
And especially the minute like you hear in the trailers, like, the legacy of that shield is complicated. It's like, oh, they're going to do that. They're definitely doing that.
And I love how they introduced them, especially with how the dynamic with Bucky and stuff like that. He had history.
So I like how they kind of they're playing the same topic of conversation for both of them. Obviously, it's more relevant to Sam, but it's a like the opposite side of the coin for Bucky. Like the experience is different, but the feeling's the same. I think that's the way a decent way to put it. But or at least I think that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I've had the thought in my head since Friday, since I watched it, and I could never formulate it into anything. I'm like, how do I even say what I'm trying to think of right now? I don't know. Yeah. But I think that's probably the question.
Yeah, there's something personal to both characters in that meeting. You know, it's like for Sam, it's like, oh wow, you know, there was this going on. He only saw the good side of the legacy. You know, he never really realized that there was a negative side to that. You know, and
it's a good old secret history. Yeah. Good old secret origins of Captain America.
Yeah, and I love the fact that it had more to do with Bucky than it did Steve. You know, like it because Bucky, you know.
Yeah, it was, you know, Bucky was the one that's been around the entire time. Yeah. Obviously, he's been in and out through the decades, but he's been around.
Yeah. Where Steve was in the ice for X amount of years, Bucky was walking around some of those years, you know, and like, you know, in some of those years, he encountered the product of what the government was trying to replicate, you know, with Cap, you know, and you know, I know it's kind of a trope to have the government the bad guy, but it's like it almost kind of it almost makes sense, right?
It's a staple of Captain America, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, you know, he's not the government, he's the people.
Yeah. And the government,
absolute power corrupts absolutely, and all that jazz.
And they kind of started that thread in Winter Soldier, you know, like,
I mean, even in the first Captain America, like they wanted a super soldier. They didn't want a super good guy.
Yeah.
They always wanted they wanted John Walker. It's taken them 90 to 100 years to get John Walker now.
Yeah. And I love his. I love you know, a lot of people had it was very, very subjective with John Walker, the introduction, stuff like that. I feel like they did a great job. They did a great job of like introducing a character, and it's almost like if you go back, it's almost like the comics introduction in a way. I think a little bit
to jump back on the theory thing. I think John Walker's the biggest theory part of this for me.
Yeah.
It's like, we know the power broker's in this. The credits spoiled that. Spoiled if you haven't watched this. The power broker's going to be a villain in this, or some part. Yeah. Which power broker? I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be an amalgamation of the two. If it's going to be the big, a Juggernaut-esque guy, or it's going to be the purple suit wearing Darkseid looking guy. But
and for the purpose of the show, I do not know either. So,
which I do not believe.
For
the sake of this video, you don't know.
I played dumb very well, so. But yeah,
because like that's how Walker gets his powers in the comics, isn't it? He gets it from the power broker.
Power brokers, yeah. I also kind of love how they kind of threw everybody for a loop on the Flag Smashers too, because like throughout the campaign and the promos, it was all like focused on them being the bad guys. You know.
Yeah, but well, at least the impression I get is Sam's like the middle ground in politics.
Yeah.
And then, you know, Walker's the left, Flag Smashers are the right. No. Walker's the right, Flag Smashers are the left.
They're the ultra left.
Yeah, it's the two extremes, and Sam's obviously the middle guy. I know there's people being like, oh, how they portray, you know, the liberals in media. It's like, guys, we betrayed either side of politics like crap in media.
It's not. This is nothing new. Entertainment, good entertainment, always focuses on stuff that's happening right now. I don't think they. I mean, as of right now, I don't think they portray any side any worse than the other than they are.
Yeah. Also, I think for Captain America, obviously Steve's he's liberal. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, for the most part, Steve would always stand in the middle. He unites. He's not going to divide. And I think that's what Sam needs to do. But I think the interesting part with Sam's story in that factor is one side doesn't want it.
Yeah.
One side would never accept him, so he has that. It just makes it an interesting spin on that dynamic.
And then it's the best. Another interesting part is like how Bucky stands too, because Bucky is firmly in the middle right now. Bucky. If Bucky sneezes wrong, then he's going down. Like. Yeah. Well, I think one of my favorite scenes in the show, right as of right now, is right after they meet Isaiah Bradley. That little interaction between the cops and Marilyn.
Which I understand why it's there, but I'm like, you didn't recognize it.
Yeah, I think they're going for the thing where, like, look, it's nothing new that cops are. No,
it's absolutely nothing new. No.
Yeah, there's a lot of cops that are ex-military that are, and I don't want, look, as an ex-military, I'm not putting any shade to that, but like, I always believe that military, like, as they are trained to be more lethal than a cop, I don't think they don't belong in that sector.
Yeah.
Because they're more susceptible to be overtly aggressive when it comes to stuff. I don't think that's the case with this, but it's like, you never know who is behind the badge, the personality. Like, that guy could have been just a straight up racist, and he didn't care if that was Falcon or not. He was going to stop him. Yeah. And then you're also talking about
a lot with cops and a black person's reaction to it, because you also had Walker with the siren.
Yeah. Just like, and you also got the setting too, Maryland. Maryland's a very very, very, very interesting setting because of like just the way like Baltimore is in general with the minorities.
Yeah.
Like what was that show? What was that show that was set in Baltimore? God man.
Pass.
Marisha Ali was in it, and like having a blank. Anyways, yeah. I think it was very interesting, and then all of a sudden it's like the script was flipped. It's like, oh, Bucky's the one that got arrested. And it was it was the white guy. I always talk to you about how this show would play out. It would be more of a buddy cop. I always look at this as the Odd Couple and Marvel. Like those two are just.
You get the whole like Lethal Weapon vibe as well. Like, yeah, absolutely.
Peanut butter and jelly, man. They're peanut butter and jelly, and like, I think that's what makes this gonna make this show so much more better. Like, it's just like, then it's like these two. You could believe that they're actually friends outside the show. They've hung out, they've talked. You can see it, And that scene
they're definitely chalk and cheese, but it works.
Yeah, I love the scene in the police with the therapist, and like they're interlocking ties and stuff like that.
Oh, that was one of the best. Out of the first episodes, that was one of the best. Like, obviously, I know we saw it in the trailers, but I'm like, oh, I adore the hell out of that scene.
And then the confession from Bucky made it that much more interesting. Like, why is he so grumpy towards Sam? It's like there's something underneath that he's not saying until now. Like
it's nothing to do with Sam personally. It's all about Steve.
It's like it's how he was handed that legacy, and he feels like he slighted that legacy by just handing it over. But he doesn't understand that Sam has. He has trepidations about, that's a big shoes to fill, and like he feels the pressure, But yeah.
No, I absolutely adore what this is doing.
Yeah, I just love the chemistry. I mean, even if it was just them talking for an hour, just bantering.
I'd watch it. I'd absolutely watch it. Those two together, give me an hour of it easily.
And then in season, because like the first episode is more focused on each personal life. You see Bucky, the first episode I think was great, like with Bucky and like his guilt. He's so guilt ridden about killing this kid's this father's
I was going to
kid.
say that scene at the little old man's apartment, and he sees the little shrine in the background. That's all you needed. Just like
it feels. You start feeling. You feel his pain. Like he's like he doesn't know what to do. He's got this list of people to make amends with, but then he's got this one guy that he just, he's the most dangerous person in the world, but he's more scared to say 3 words to this guy about what he did.
It's just nice to actually have a Bucky with a character.
Yeah.
So
and that's what these shows are going to do.
Since like 2014, all Bucky's been is long greasy hair, and it's just like, oh, okay, that's Bucky.
He's been a killing machine. Like it was his purpose throughout the movies. It's like, you just like he said, where's the fight? That was what Bucky was about. What he was like a weapon from both sides. But like with the show, it goes into more of like what he's feeling and what he's going through. Like eternally, he's just like he's like one of the strongest guys in the world, and yet he's basically
he's traumatized. He doesn't know.
Yeah,
like,
and he's like scared to confront his. He wants to confront his past, but he's scared. And like it's understandable. Like he's doing all this for this guy. It is nice, but like there's a reason why he's doing it.
Yeah. I also found it interesting that they actually. I can't remember if Civil War did this, but they made it so like he's conscious when he did everything as the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, I think they did that in Civil War, where he's like, I think there was a line of dialogue. He's like, I remember everything, So, and I think that makes it worse for him because he's like, he's a prisoner in his own body. He knows what he sees what he's
just
doing.
A passenger.
Yeah, and that's what's going to be interesting in episode 3. Because when he confronts Zemo,
he's got to confront Zemo.
He's got to confront the guy that again used him as a weapon. Like he was a pawn in a game. And like I think
it's a psychological rape, really, isn't it? You think?
Yeah, basically it was. Because it's like this guy Zemo was using him as a tool.
Yeah,
and that's it. But I think that's I think where the friendship with Sam is going to help.
Yeah,
because Sam and him are the new Cap and Bucky.
I just hope that they get paid. Poor guys, what's going on?
Well, it kind of continues a thread that happened in WandaVision. It's like. That was the question. It's like, where did Vision get the money to get this plot of land?
I just like how easy that question came about. Like the second you see the deed in one division, you're like, where'd you get the money for that? And then you see these two, you're like, oh, it's the Stark and Cap side differences. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's just like, and it's like, of course, the war criminal terrorists aren't going to get paid by the government anymore because they're on the run. Even with a pardon, like why would they pay them?
Yeah, I'm sure his army pension is probably null and void at this point.
Yeah. That'd be a huge pension. They'd owe him a lot of money.
Yeah. I also liked to see, like, I love the contrast to Sam's personal life. Also, I like the way they pan back and forth to both their personal lives. Like Sam is just he's a superhero, but then when you get to his personal life, he can't get a loan because there's no fight. he doesn't have a work record for 5 years, or whatnot. It's like,
yeah, I love that little detail. It's like the world didn't stop. Like, we had to carry on. You haven't done anything for 5 years, and it's just like, yeah, but I did this.
I saved the world, though.
You wouldn't be here to deny me this loan if I didn't do this. And it's like, it irritates me that the fact that he can't get the loan. That's how it works. But it's more irritating because it's like, no, it's exactly how it works.
Yeah, it would work. Yeah, like you're trying to figure out, like, Stark is the only one that would be able to pay that guy. He's not a government contractor.
And like even down to Monica just trying to get in the sword base, it's like, well, if you worked here, it would work, wouldn't it? It's just like, why's everyone got to be a dick?
Yeah,
you can tell the people that weren't blipped, like everyone that wasn't blipped is now a dick.
Yeah, I mean, or left wing extremists, one of the two.
Maybe Thanos should have killed them all.
Yeah. But
you got the wrong stuff, is what I'm saying.
I also love the scene in the bar with Bucky where he's like drinking and the girl's like, "You should be drunk by now, right?"
I don't know why it never hit me, because obviously in Civil War you see the whole super soldier serum thing. It's like we know he was experimenting on with it, but it's like the first time you really kind of see he has the same stuff as Steve. So he can't get drunk, and then in the second episode he's like running to catch up the lorry.
Yeah.
The truck.
Like you kind of chalk up like the stuff that happened in Civil War to be like he's got a cybernetic arm, but like you kind of get answers in the show where it's like the same experiments. It was just done by the Russians, says in Hydra. So
just same shit, different country.
Yeah, but then I think. I don't know if you want to go into see the episode 2 now, or if you have.
I mean, we're going all over the place anyway. It's fine.
I love the introduction of John Walker to the guys, like in that one scene where they're fighting the girl, like that whole chunk of scenes with them fighting on the semi, and then Sam poop talking Bucky saying your little girl kicked her.
Was that in the show? I can't remember. I know it's in the trailer, but I thought I watched it and I was like, they didn't say the line. But
she kicked him off. She kicked Bucky off. He's holding on the bottom of the semi, and then Sam's like flying right next to him, and he's like, "Your blank got kicked by that little girl." Yeah. And then but then I love the introduction to the Cap 2.0. We want to call him. Right now,
what's a downgrade?
Cap
he's the Wish.com Captain America.
Cap Light, or Cap Wish. I see a lot of people kind of poo pooing on.
I think with that it's just a meme to crap on.
Yeah.
I think the whole meme is he's not Steve. It's like no, you're coming in trying to replace it. I think ironically, it's people aren't accepting the chosen Captain America. People want the one that the show isn't going to accept. And it's just like,
hey. I mean, I think, and it works to the show's advantage because you're feeling the same. Whatever is being said out in the memes is what people are saying while they're watching the show. They're like, I don't believe this guy, and they were saying that when the character was introduced as Captain America in the comics, they're like, this is not Captain America. Like,
my mother, that end of episode 1 when he winks at the camera, she's like, so he's evil, isn't he? It's like straight away, it's like, I don't like this guy. Like,
I don't. Cap. As generic as John Walker is as a character, he's kind of got some layers because he's, like even in the comics, he was like, it was ultra right guy.
He's just edgy Steve.
Yeah. And then you add something else to the mix, and then it becomes a completely different thing. And then he kind of redeems himself in the end, but like he is kind of a generic Cap in a way. But like I think that's the point of the comic or the show. Is like he's just a generic version of that character. Right down to the suit.
I just equate Walker to being the third part of the spectrum. You get I can't remember the guy who did the experiments on Steve. He was a German guy.
I can't remember.
Yeah, it's like Red Skull's what happens when the bad person has the stuff. Steve's what happens when the good man has the stuff. Walker's what happens when the perfect soldier has the stuff. Like, he's just that middle generic guy.
Yeah, he's the product of what the government wanted in the first place.
Yeah,
a good obedient soldier that won't say anything except for yes sir.
He'll still whip out the gun second he loses the shield because he's just a dude.
yeah. in the comics, that's exactly how it started out, though. He was just a guy in a suit, but then it progressively got, I don't know. He's just got parent, I
So he
don't know.
goes to the power broker, gets his stuff, and then Hey,
well, there's like an old Batman run called Batman Venom, where Batman he's at his peak, and then he just realizes that using this stuff Venom would make him better, but it also deteriorates his mind and stuff like that. It's kind of what happened with him and John Walker in the comics. Is like the stuff does different things to different people, just like in the first movie, how the doctors explain, it's like it makes good people better, makes bad people worse.
Yeah.
And like what happens when it
makes walking Torres a bird, apparently.
Yeah.
This is what I assume. Like you had the power broker, you have Torres, there's gotta be a reason.
Yeah. But
as long as he hasn't got the goofy bird eyes and bird hand feet, I'll be happy. That's good.
I don't think they're gonna go there like that. That's
thank God.
I mean, it's not the show hasn't presented itself as like, like he's almost like a mutant. But
so I could live with the feathers on the arms. That's fine. It's the talons and the bird eyes. Like that whoever drew that you goofed, because he looked goofy. There's no two ways about it. Ugly.
So I love the interaction between Bucky, Sam, Walker, and Battlestar.
Fucking episode 2 just went, here's every Captain
everything.
You want Patriots right there. We ain't gonna call him Eli just yet, but that's Eli.
Yeah, a lot of people missed that thing too. I was like, who do you think opened the door, man?
Yeah. So who's this guy with Elijah Bradley? Who's this little kid with Elijah Bradley? I wonder. He's clearly
the only thing that I kind of regret, and I've said this a million times at work, is like I kind of wish there was more of Eli Bradley in the show.
That's unfortunate if he's not.
I think, but what it does is it opens the door. But I think I would love to see more of that backstory, man. Like right now, that back. Like the minute they said, he was sent to stop Bucky. I'm like, I want to see that. I want to see that right now. Like.
Do you mean Elijah or Eli?
Elijah, I'm sorry. You're gonna get more of Elijah, but I mean the Eli Bradley, Winter Soldier confrontation. The minute they said
Bradley, Winter Soldier.
Yeah, Elijah. Sorry. But I want to see that. The minute they said that,
I kind of wish when he brought that up.
I don't want to see that.
Can we just flash back to it, please? I want to just see him tear his arm off. Right.
But
or at least show the arm he had. Like, you would have kept that, surely. Be like, yeah, I still got your arm. Right.
Yeah, but I love the actor who portrayed him. I wanted to see more of it. I think the little that it does do with him in the show, I think it is beneficial because it shows that, there's more that went on past Steve getting into the ice. There's a lot more, and like it was never talked about until now.
Yeah. I hope the show does delve into that more, because I feel like if you just bring it up and then kind of
shut it down. Well, I think they're gonna talk about it more. It's gonna happen, because it's relevant to who they're facing. Like again, I can't say much more to that. I can't wait to get to the match report stuff. That's gonna be very interesting. But
I can't figure out how match report's gonna fit in quite yet.
It's interesting. It's a good in for introduction to.
Don't introduce.
No, it's going to be the possibility of anything, because it expands the universe by even introducing that place.
Yeah.
It expands it greatly, because that's a very hot spot of certain people. Not just mutants. It's just certain people. It's a pirate.
Yeah, a certain appendage organization.
Yeah,
a certain amount of digits on a certain limb.
So how did you like that first scene of the first episode? That was probably one of the best first scenes of any episodes I've ever seen.
I'd say I was honestly surprised it started out with an action sequence. I was just like, okay.
But it was like
we just had like 8 weeks of no action apart from 10 minutes. Then we just jumping straight back into it. It's like, okay, cool. This is a very obviously this series lends itself more to that sort of a concept, but it's like, yeah.
But cool. It was like
liked it.
From what I've heard, it was very expensive.
It looked expensive. No. I can understand why they then went straight to a shipping boat or a houseboat for like 20 minutes. It's like, yeah, I get you now. Yeah.
But
budget all went 5 minutes ago.
But I think it's a very good contrast to like, okay, here's your exciting life, and then
here's his high-flying life, but in actuality, this guy comes from a little houseboat.
Which I find
it interesting. They've changed, at least as far as I'm aware, they've changed like Sam's origin, that where he comes from.
Yeah. I mean, again, you're also talking about like the shows are always going to change up a little bit, like little things here and there. So
yeah.
I think it doesn't change anything just to change it. I think there's a reason why they change all that stuff. So
yeah.
No,
I have liked these first episodes. Part of me is like, I want more Zemo. I'm explicitly here for Brawl Zemo. Give me Zemo.
And you're gonna get a good dose of that
I
character.
bloody well better.
I mean, from what I've seen, the guy is. It's like I've always been saying, and I'm not saying this because I'm working for a company. I'm saying this because they actually pick the right people for these parts, and like. Whether you like the characterization of Zemo or not, I love how they Daniel Brawl, like he makes you believe. He's a great actor, and he's
really underrated actor. He does not get enough work.
Yeah, I mean, I think he might pick and choose what he wants to do. I don't think
that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, I think that's what he does. I'm not sure. I don't know personally, but it seems like the guy that picks and chooses what he wants to do.
Just give me like a Citizen V series.
Nothing's out of the question. I mean, like
I don't need the costume. I just need the Zemo suit and a sword. Away we go.
I think the show would deliver on everything that they said they wanted to do. Spielman's like probably one of the best writers I've ever. I
was gonna say from the first third of the series, which I hate saying that, is that we've only had 2 episodes and we're a third of the way through. Like we're halfway through next week, and I hate that. It's like it's too short. I missed 13 episodes. I need more.
Yeah,
I don't want.
I think the design, but I think the way I would rather have 6 really really great episodes than 13 very mundane.
Oh yeah,
episodes.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's just kind of like.
I want more, yeah.
Saying I want more is never a bad thing. It's like, no, just give me more of the stuff. Like I'm hoping.
Yeah.
And the fact we've got to wait a month for Loki, like, come on. I know there are bad batches in between, but a month for Loki. I never thought I'd be saying that because it was Loki.
Yeah, I think that's a talk for another show, but like.
Yeah, we'll 2 months away from that thing. That's fine.
Yeah, I think I don't know, man. Like I hate talking things like this because it's like I don't want people thinking I'm biased, and like but I'm saying this from like
they're gonna think that regardless. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna say this right off the bat. I would say the same thing. I say the same thing about the other company's stuff too. If I really like it, I'm gonna talk about it. Like the Suicide Squad really looks good, and if it's half as good as the trailer, I'm gonna love it. I'm going to say
King Shark and Starro in it. I'm sold. That's the best movie ever.
Yeah, but like I'm not entirely biased when I talk on this show. I try to separate myself from what I do, and I just talk to. I'm talking to you like I would talk to anybody else about whatever it is because I'm a comic book fan first, and and like if somebody else puts out like we talked about Invincible last week, I'm a fan of that. That's not Marvel out, but I think the show will deliver everything that it was intended to deliver, and I think it's gonna change the landscape of what you think about the characters, and it's gonna be fun. I mean,
I'm interested to see where Sam. Obviously, it's the way these shows are going. It's kind of like, yeah, it's the typical. We need to get them A to B or from A to the suit. Yeah. The bare bones skeletons of these shows seem to be beginning suit. It's just that old chestnut.
Yeah, it's the archetype of every show, But not every show, but the majority of the show is there's the goal at the end of the thing that they have to get.
It's a uniquely comic book thing because the suit is character development half the time.
But
I think
it's okay. Sorry.
No, I was trying to think of something. I lost.
I think at the end of the series you'll understand and it'll be justified why. Why the wait. And I think you would appreciate his journey to get to that suit because you can say that about a lot of the other shows and I probably agree with you. But I think this one is different. I think there's a reason why, and you see it in the first 2 episodes. You see the doubt in Sam's eyes, and you see how he talks about it. It's he sees as that legacy as unfillable unless your name is Steve.
Yeah.
And he doesn't feel up to the thing. But in the progression of the show, you'll slowly realize that he can do it, and a Bucky is firmly a part of that. Bucky is the eternal sidekick at this point, but he understands his role.
Oh, he shouldn't call him sidekicks. Bucky and Sam got mad when they called that.
I say that in jest, but you'll see the structure. They're partners.
Yeah.
They're partners, but you see that Bucky will look at him as the new Captain America, and he believes him because Steve did. He he's respecting what Steve was wishing. It's he understands that he has a lot of more demons and a lot more quote unquote red in his ledger. That he
there's reasons why Bucky couldn't have it.
Yeah, he knows that the legacy has to be it has to stand for something, and if they, and you never know, eventually it could happen, but right now Bucky's seeing the legacy as this has to be pure, this has to be,
it has to be what something he wanted. It has not what the government
wanted. And it's not to say that Bucky doesn't want to put that shield on or that suit on, but he understands that he has a journey he has to get through before he feels like he's worthy to do that. And he sees Sam as more, capable, and he sees it because Steve saw it, So he's just,
he's just another good man.
Yeah, he understands his role in the dynamic. It's not they're one below the other. It's they're standing side by side, they're on the same level, but he knows that if he puts that suit on, people are going to look at his history and go, why is that guy, wearing the symbol of the United States? He doesn't, he's done all these horrible things. That's in his head, He doesn't think he's redeemable.
Yeah. I love the whole line of believe that I did what I thought was right.
Yeah.
When Bucky confronts him, it's just kind of it wasn't just a straight, I didn't think I could do this. It's no, Sam has the legitimate reason why he thinks.
Yeah, but Bucky's in that position where he feels like he's kind of poo-pooing on it, because of the hand. He doesn't understand it because he's not listening to Sam. There's that whole thing.
Which is a very big conversation that's going on right now. Maybe just stop and listen to people. You might find out a few things.
Yeah, and his Bucky's heart's in the right place when he says these things, but he doesn't want to to listen to why Sam doesn't feel like he whether that's right or wrong is a different question, but like he doesn't want to listen to, like, he feels like that's an excuse in a way, like he feels like Steve saw something in Sam that he didn't see in anybody else, and he chose him. Whether Steve had the right to choose anybody, he did, though. It's like he it's like the seal of approval, man. Like all that stuff is government property, probably. But like,
it's 100% government property.
But like,
the government made the shield level,
it's nothing unless the person before him gives them the seal of approval, and Steve is like the standard, and like, it's just there's like big contrasts between John Walker and Sam, and like, Sam's is not a yes man. Like, he'll question and he'll, and John Walker will just walk in and do whatever their higher up says, and that's and it's a different cap, altogether.
What I want to know with Walker, does he just assume he's an Avenger now?
I don't know if the Avengers are around.
I'll say, is that how like the world's playing, like the government's playing things? It's like, oh no, he's Captain America, he's now an Avenger. Like he's the guy that.
Well, I think they might be positioning the Avengers to have, like, the Sokovia Accords are still in play.
Yeah, and I imagine they're going to come into play in this like they did with WandaVision.
Yeah, the Sokovia Accords never went away. They've just been in the background of everything, and like, as of now,
you should look at everything since Civil War. There hasn't really been a spot where they could address. I think Infinity War was the first time they could really go like, hang on, the Sokovia Accords they are in effect, like they are still here. And then it's like, oh, we have this 5-year time jump where half the people weren't here.
Yeah, and Sokovia Accords don't really matter when half the people in the population.
Yeah, so despite being like, what, 5 years ago, that movie, like, we're only really getting to a point now where you can see how that affects him.
I look at the Sokovia Accords as like something that like got once the Infinity War happened, it kind of got lost in the shuffle, and like, like it's just like every other legislation. You don't realize it's a law until someone breaks it, and then they go, oh, wow, that was there. I didn't know that. I thought that.
They also never really applied to anything until like Infinity War, so it was.
Well, I mean, I think
to bring it up.
Yeah, and I think the show will probably go into that a little bit more because of like the connections to John, and like he's a government sponsored Captain America. I mean, like he's the choice. He's what's gonna, like, from now on, that's who they're gonna address. I mean, whether that changes at the end of the show, I don't know. But as of right now, the government only acknowledges that John Walker is Captain America.
Yeah.
And
I did have to laugh. Well, not like ha, like physically actually laugh out loud at it. But it's the whole, we're going to have this ceremony where Sam's putting the shield on display. And then it's like a day later, it's like, here's the Captain America. It's just like, hang on.
They could not wait
a whole thing. Like, what was
they couldn't wait a week or something. Like, it's
like you couldn't have made a different shield. Like
hold on, man. I just donated this thing.
It's like, you're telling me in the 5 years you didn't try to invade Wakanda to get more vibranium for this thing? Like, what was? I assume you have some kind of Ultron bits lying around somewhere. Like, you could have just melted that down and make another one.
I think the shield, that shield, is more of a symbol than it is anything. It's like, oh, this is the Captain America shield that Captain America used. So this must be the real. Yeah, well, I mean, but this must be the real Captain America.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, man.
I was more thinking because like they make at least the impression I got from Endgame when Steve's like, well, it isn't. When Sam's saying if it was someone else's, it's like, well, if he's gone to a different timeline, then the shield looks different than the one he had before. Obviously, that one got broken, so it's like, where did he get that one from?
The aesthetic is different. I always assumed that they just made another one. Like, they just took the parts of the old one and just kind of... I don't know.
I like that it's different. I like
comic books.
Yeah. I just like the idea that it's different for Sam's sake. And like Steve kind of thought about that. It's like, it's not my shield. My shield got broke.
Yeah. Well, I think maybe it implies that it's like, but I feel like it more implied that Sam thought that it belonged to Steve, and Steve is like, no, it doesn't. It belongs to you.
I think it works either way. Just the way I took it was like,
it's interpretation, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think it's, I think it's going to be interesting to see the progression of that. How you see Sam kind of like see this. I mean, I think it kind of broke open a little bit for him after the episode 2 with the thing in Maryland with Bradley. It's not all cakes and butterflies. That legacy. It's like it's more of a tainted than, and it's not Steve per se. It's like anytime you get governmental,
it's the government. No, it's obviously they lost their Captain America really quickly and early on. So it's like, hey, we're gonna have another one, and then they just treat him like crap for like 30 odd years.
And you got to look at this. It was like it's historically appropriate for that because I mean, like look at the Tuskegee Airmen. I mean, it's not superhero thing, but it's like that stuff happened. Like they treated people lower than, and it's pretty timely that message because it's like it's not just happening to the one minority group. It's happening to everything that's not white. Every group that's not white is being treated as not equal.
I mean, even like it's more just like the white man, like white males. Like if you're a woman, you get the same, not the same treatment. We are similar treatment.
So and at the end of the day, I'm a devil man, so I guess I'm white. But like, I don't know. It's interesting to see that aspect of the Captain America history because no one ever.
I just hope it gets explored more and in this show, or even just down the line. I need more of that. It's so interesting.
Well, I mean, like you got potential shows of having Patriot involved in the Marvel universe, so that connection's always going to be there, and they're going to have to explain like that. There's the possibility of seeing that his origin is connected to his grandfather. So I think they're just trying to set up the fact that these people exist in the universe, and that this happened, and then they're planted. That's the thing about the MCU is like they are planting things way ahead of what's going to happen.
Yeah,
just so that the seeds are there, and like by the time it grows into a flower, I don't want to use that analogy, but like it, I think it's appreciated more because there's like, oh yeah, there's a precedent of this happening, and like now we can go a little bit more deeper into it.
To end this off, there's one thing from the trailers that not confuses me, but I never really thought about where it would be in the show. And now with Walker being Cap and him having the shield, which I always assumed he would be early on anyway. I never really put 2 and 2 together. But there's the scene of Sam training with the shield. I'm like, how does he get that back? What happens there? Like, what's that about? And that's kind of episodes. Right now what I'm here for. I'm hoping that's next week or this
later
week,
episodes.
This will come out.
I mean, that could also be flashbacks too. Like, but
it could, but he says the legacy of the shield is complicated, and he didn't know that before.
Yeah, I think that monologue in the background is from after.
No, he ain't. He's there's. You see him talking about it, like he's mouthing those words right there. To be fair, they could very well be the wrong words, and it'd be a dub over, and I just never noticed it.
Marvel's they're pretty tame to do that too.
I was gonna say that they fooled me. They fooled me not once.
They did it in Endgame
a few times.
I mean, Infinity War, but I think you're gonna see some of that stuff later on. Like maybe, a little bit. See,
I am also assuming that him training with the shield is the same scene with him saying it. All I know is it's in the same spot.
Yeah.
Very well. There's also times. I don't know that.
there's also scenes with Bucky and him in that same scene too. So like, like, I guess we'll have to wait and see.
I guess I will, but that's the one bit from the trailer that's really nabbed my attention in the minute. Apart, that's obviously not. I mean, I'm having to remove Zemo because I'm just here for that guy. This is the Zemo out for me every week.
He's got his own plans for sure, but it's like I said, it's gonna be very interesting to see what the later episodes reveal. I mean that very well could be the very end of the episode 6. So like him trading the shield,
because that dude ain't in costume, man.
I mean, like not the very end, but like that could be him getting the shield back officially. I don't know. You never know. You never know. Everything's out of order. So
it's like we wonder if people are like, oh, we've only seen things from the first 5 episodes, and it's like, no, we saw virtually the end of the show when they're holding hands.
Yeah, and also they do this all the time. They film scenes for the promos that never make it into the show or out of order. It's all like that's how they do the trailers. Is like they show some interesting imagery, put some voiceover on it, and then I don't know, or they just do a red herring 100% completely. I mean,
like Agatha and the Bike in One Division trailers, like that weren't in there.
Or Infinity War, everybody charging down the, Hulk and Toe.
I forgot about that. Yeah,
I mean, it's
everyone. Yeah,
they do have a precedent of doing that. So
they do,
but I don't think they're going to do that with the show. I think you're going to see the stuff that's in the promo images are pretty much either alternate takes or actual takes.
Yeah. So I don't think it's as secretive as they tried to be with Infinity War.
Yeah, I mean the stuff that they're being secretive about is.
Oh yeah, but not to that extreme.
But when that suit was revealed on the toy, I was really disappointed when that got revealed because like it's a big thing in the show, but there's bigger things in the show that haven't been revealed. But it's like kind of disappointing that people. I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure.
Man, they always happen.
I mean, thankfully, WandaVision kind of skirted around a lot of that stuff because of like this pandemic. But like, like they didn't have a lot of toy connections in that show, so it was, it's a little easier. But with like the Falcon and Winter Soldier, this has a lot of toy tie-ins, so it's like it's a little harder because like. I was disappointed with it because it's like, like you don't want that official image to be a fucking toy, you want it to be the on-screen, like.
But it's always gonna. I always look at it like toys always look different anyway. In the end, like they're never. Yes, it's of the thing, and the closest thing you probably get to like stealing the thunder away from me, anyways, like the Hot Toys and stuff that. They have the scale to actually play with it. Yeah, you could have the detail on it.
That's why Hot Toys is holding back a lot of the Falcon stuff. But like, I was upset to see it, but then I'm like, because it's like the attune of getting a grainy image of something. It's like it's not the best representation because it's like a flat paint. You don't get the subtle like nuances as you do on the suit in the show because. It looks amazing, man. Like,
I don't even think it's the first time it's leaked. I'm certain they had like the packaging.
No, it was a while back.
There's like a packaging of it with a really good shot, and it's just like. Ooh.
I think there was like there's a shirt too, maybe a while back, but like, I think I was just I don't know. I just get so disappointed with stuff like that.
Toy leaks suck, and any promo for something you haven't seen yet from stuff like this, it sucks.
Especially this toy image because it's so. Like it's so flat and it's so like pristine and it's like you don't get like the sudden nuances that you do with the actual suit on screen. It's like it's not like I don't know, man. It was just like I posted something on Facebook as tune of like saying I have a special kind of hate for leakers.
Is that leakers. What you were talking about?
Yeah, it's just like because a lot of people do a lot of hard work that put it to that show and all these shows. It's like you don't want your first reveal to be a perfectly painted toy. that doesn't necessarily give a good representation of like the actual image of the suit. But like, there's no way around it.
At the end of the day, the vast majority of people are gonna see it for the first time in the show.
Yeah, and that in the thing is like, it's. I think the assumption was that she was gonna get the cap suit anyway, so it's like it wasn't. Total
it wasn't exactly a shock. Yeah,
it wasn't like the WandaVision thing, where it would have completely, destroyed not destroy the show, but it would have took something away from it. But like, knowing for sure that he gets a cap suit, it was pretty much like everybody's assumption. And
even with WandaVision, they ruined the suit in the posters. Obviously, we didn't see the full thing, but it's just like, oh, she's getting a new suit. Like there was that thing in there, right?
But I think
context, the reason of it wasn't there. But obviously, they said
that. Like, I think there's a little difference with the Wanda thing, is because like the Wanda thing wasn't a full on shot of like what it's.
No, it was just two separate pieces. You couldn't together.
This was just like a straight up full on.
Yeah,
and it's the worst. It's the worst. It was the worst figures ever because they're Diamond Select. Those things suck. I hate them. Like,
I want to say there was a toy leak ages ago for the suit, but I think it was a prototype, and it was like this weird, distorted, like the little baby things.
Well,
and it
was
just like blue up top and red down the body.
They call them Titans or something like that in their titanium collection or something like that. They're like 5-point articulations. They're meant for like 5-year-olds.
I'd say it looked like a real like a toddler's
That
toy.
was a bad one.
Yeah,
but
it's like you could make out some details. I almost took that image and just like wanted to recolor it just to see what it looked like. But I was like,
I think I might have.
No.
Yeah, but I think that was so far away that people kind of.
I say that was what most people probably didn't even see that or remember.
But like this one was just like, man. If I could find the person that did that, I'd just squarely kick him in the balls, just to let them know my true feelings about that. And it was, I'm sure that person's gonna get caught. Like they don't really tread lightly on stuff like that. So, I don't know, but like it like I said to someone else, I was like, that's not the real surprise in the show. So it's like, it's disappointing, yes, but it's not like, oh my God, this is going to take a lot away from the show. It's like, there's a lot of stuff that hasn't even been discussed that's a part of the show that's going to blow people up. But,
I assume it's got something to do with the vaccines or quote vaccines.
Maybe. Yeah, masks too. Good.
Power broker. Terrigen. Miss Marvel's coming out soon. I wonder how she gets her powers. What cap story would lend itself to a mist being thrown all over the planet? I wonder.
Or a mad bomb or something like that.
That's kind of what I was alluding to. Mixing mad bomb and Terrigenesis. Like, hey, why not?
Yeah. I think the Marvel Legends got leaked too, but like those are shit toys too, so like no offense.
I don't like the look of Marvel Legends. They look cheap.
They're $20. They're $20 figures, but like I think and I don't think anybody has any pictures of the prototype for any of the Hot Toys, so like that's never gonna leak unless some one of 3 people in the
Hot Toys has leaked, does it? They seem to be like airtight.
Yeah, they've had some leaks in the past, but not as much as like a Hasbro Legends and stuff like that, because Hasbro Legends is so widely and broadly made. They're in factories that have like a million people, but like Hot Toys are pretty tight when it comes to stuff like that. So, but that would, I think, if something like that would have leaked, I think it would have. Oh, I mean, because that. The pictures I've seen of that prototype, I'm like, damn. That's
I can imagine that thing is going to look insane.
Yeah, I mean, it like you get what you pay for with those figures because like the details are more prominent. They take time. They accent it. They add dirt to they're very detail oriented. Where like Marvel Legends are. I mean, let's face it, they're like printed in the assembly round, and built and painted by like 1 million people, and they got like 5 minutes to paint each So, but like, you know, Hot Toys are pretty detailed, and I think that would have been more disappointing if that would have happened. But yeah.
All right. On that note, don't leak toys. Is how we're
yes, we'll kick you in the balls. I'll find you.
That's how we're gonna leave you off on that one. So yeah, we'll be back next week with episode 3, or this week. No, it'll be next week.